you pointed out to me that I missed this little spot of his t-shirt, which is blue, so I went ahead and fixed that. Good observers. I don't know how I missed that. It was pretty obvious. Anyway, so today we're going to continue on with this and create a starburst behind him. Before I do that, I'm just going to check my color one more time. Everything looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and throw away this top layer, which was the actual image, because I no longer need that. So I'm going to toss that in the trash. And then what I want to do is I want to group all of my current layers by holding shift. So I'm selecting the top layer, holding shift and selecting the bottom layer. And I'm going to hit the group icon right here. And I'll just call this Star-Lord. This is my Star-Lord folder. Okay, now I'm going to create this starburst, and as I'm looking at my document here, I'm seeing that I did not really leave a lot of space for a starburst in the back. This may be true for you too, or maybe you do have a lot of space. But for me, I'm going to go ahead and zoom this out a little bit, and I'm going to crop this again. Going back to an 8.5 by 11 with a 300 resolution, I'm just going to pull this corner up and give me more space back here for a starburst and for a title and everything else that I want on here. Okay, so that's going to work a lot better for me. All right, now we're going to go to the pen tool, and I'm going to choose a red color. And I'm just going to start creating a starburst behind him, kind of a comic-like effect starburst. And this is going to end up going behind my figure, so it doesn't matter what's going on in front of him. And also this will create a new layer when I begin this. I want no stroke, so I have my red fill, and I'm just going to start doing straight clicks. There is no curvature to this. Going to go ahead and close this shape and move it underneath. And then I'm going to work with the direct selection tool, which is that white arrow, to just make any adjustments on this that I would like to. I'm pulling some of these inner nodes out a little bit further because I'm also going to have an inner starburst here. So I want to leave some space for that. Okay, so when you're happy with that, you're going to add some charts to this, so like little broken off pieces, and these are usually just taking the form of triangles. So like we've got pieces breaking off, so I'm going to just start doing that. Make sure you close every one of these shapes. That's going to be really important. Okay, and then again with the direct selection tool, I might do a few little changes. Okay, and I am going to group all of these. And call that Starburst. And I'm going to call it Starburst Red, since I'm going to have an inner starburst as well, and I'm moving that underneath. And I also want to put my shape 1 in that group. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to add a stroke and a drop shadow to this. So I'm going to go ahead and go down to my FX, and we'll start with the drop shadow. Okay, and this actually looks really good. I probably was playing around with these settings and had this set. So this looks really good. So what you need to do is just kind of play around with this until you get the look that you want on this. So if you look at my settings here, I have a distance of 33, a spread of 14, and a size of 8. My angle is at 30. And I'm on normal blending mode with an opacity of 100. So these settings may work for you, or you may need to play with this a little bit more, but we really want a bold look here. So we want this to stand out. And I could even maybe make this a little bit more bold by making the distance a little bit more. The size tends to blur it out a little bit, so we don't want it to be too large of a size. And then I think playing around with that angle, I get some more showing up over here. So just play with that and get it the way it looks good to you, nice and bold. And then we're also going to add a stroke. And we just want a black stroke, so we're going to first of all change our color to black. And we want this to be fairly large also. Remember, this is a comic, so we want it to be pretty bold and pretty outrageous. Okay, so I think that looks really good for my outer starburst, so I'm going to File, Save, so I don't lose that work. And now I'm going to create an inner starburst. And I will go ahead and start with black for my fill color. And just start creating a starburst within this starburst. Okay, and let's move that underneath. Actually needs to be between Star-Lord and my red starburst, and actually I accidentally just put that inside, so let me undo that and try that again. Okay, like so. And then again, you can use your direct selection tool to make any alterations that you may want to make. Okay, and get it how you want to. And I'm going to probably leave mine black because mine actually looks pretty good being black. However, if you have a subject with a lot of black hair or you've got a lot of other black going on, the black might not look good on yours. So you could do a dark gray. You could even do a gradient on this. Let me show you what a gradient would look like. Okay, so you could do something like that. So I'll show you the difference. That's mine with black and with the gray gradient overlay. So whatever you decide looks best for yours, you go ahead and do that. I think I like the black with mine. And I'm going to rename this to Inner Starburst. At this point, I'm going to start a new layer, move it to the bottom, and call this background. And I'm going to choose a color to dump into my background. And I think I'm going to go with a lighter gray. Next, we want to put a 3D style title on here. Photoshop is capable of doing 3D text. However, it's fairly complicated, and for this tutorial we're just going to cheat and we're going to use a text that looks 3D. And I have several text types that you can use, and I will put those in your resources. So let's take a look at those. Okay, so here are some of the 3D style texts that I found in dafont.com. and there may be many others that you could find in there. And these all work very, very nicely. And I will put the font files for you in your module resources, and you can use any of these that you like, or you can find your own. So I think that I like Mega Sans, so I'm going to use that for my project. You will need to rasterize these in order to change the color. So notice on this file, these are all text files, but if I move over here where I actually have more than one color going on, I had to rasterize it. And we did the same thing when we did the B movie poster. We had to rasterize that title in order to get the two color text on there. Actually, now that I see this D, I'm not really too happy with that. So I might look at some of these other fonts and try them out instead. Once I get it how I want it, I'm going to go ahead and rasterize it. And then I think I'm going to do a little bit of distortion here. Okay, I'm also going to dump some yellow in here. And then I'm going to add a drop shadow just to create a little bit more of a 3D effect. So you can see the difference on that already. It's just a little bit bolder and thicker. All right, next step is I'm going to put a quote from Star-Lord across the top, and I'm going to color block that. And I'm going to use the red that I used here for that. So let me go ahead and I'm going to activate the shape tool and go to rectangle. And I'm going to change my fill to this red color that I've already used. And I just want to create a rectangle across the top where I will be placing a quote. And the color of text is going to be the same as my background. So I will grab that. And I'm going to use Arial Narrow, and I'm going to make it bold. Okay, so get your quote how you want it, and then you can also alter that rectangle, which is a vector object, with the direct selection tool. And then I'm going to go ahead and merge these, which will rasterize them. So make sure you have everything spelled correctly and everything in its proper place before you do that step. And then I can transform them as one unit. Okay, and that's going to be it for today. This is minimum requirement for your project. So at this point you can save and submit if you're ready, or if you'd like to do the extra credit, there will be a separate video for that.